Rawlins, Wyoming, winter, 1891. The wind that met the morning train didn't whistle. It groaned, like the land knew another stranger had arrived without a place to land. Eliza Hart stepped down slowly from the last car. Her boots struck the plank with a hollow sound. One hand gripped the handle of a battered trunk. The other tucked a folded letter deeper into her coat pocket. She'd read it so many times she could recite it. Plain words, honest tone. A man named Silas Boone, widower, 59, seeking a steady woman to build something with. She'd believed him. The platform was near empty. Snow crusted the edges. Two boys tossed pebbles down the rail line. The station clerk glanced up, didn't smile. And then she saw him. Silas Boone. Clean coat, trimmed mustache, hat pulled low. He stepped out from behind a stack of crates and walked up slowly, like the sight of her was something he hadn't prepared for. "Miss Hart?" "Yes," she said. He paused, eyes traveling too slowly across her face, down to her hands, then to the trunk. "I thought you'd be younger." She let that hang in the air. "I'm 58, she said, "and I got here on time." "I mean no offense," he stammered. I was hoping to start a family, raise children. I should have been clearer." "You were clear enough," she said. "You just didn't write what you were thinking. And I didn't come here to bear sons for strangers." He looked away, jaw set. "I'm sorry," he said. "This won't work." And just like that, he walked off the platform. Didn't ask if she needed help. Didn't offer a ride. Didn't look back. The train groaned behind her and pulled away down the track. Eliza stood still, trunk at her side. Nothing waiting but snow and whispers. She wasn't new to disappointment, but this felt like it had teeth. The station clerk opened the side window and tapped it. "Next eastbound's not till Thursday," he said. "You can leave that trunk inside if you want. No one will touch it." She didn't answer right away, then bent down, gripped the handle. "I'll carry it." And she did. She walked off that platform like it wasn't her first time being left behind, because it wasn't. She hadn't come to be chosen. She came because she'd answered a question honestly. And sometimes, that's all a woman can do. Rawlins was a town that minded its own. It didn't welcome, and it didn't warn. It just watched. And as Eliza Hart carried her trunk one-handed across frost-stiff boards, the town did plenty of watching. She passed the general store. The boy sweeping the stoop paused, didn't speak, didn't nod, just watched. The church bell rang without much enthusiasm. One clang, then quiet. Eliza didn't slow. She hadn't come to be pitied, and she wouldn't beg. At the edge of the main street, she paused to catch her breath. Her hands were red through the gloves. The trunk, heavy with memory and linen, thudded against her boot with each step. That's when she heard him. "You look like you're dragging more than you packed." She turned. Caleb Turner leaned against the post outside the livery. Tall, worn like the land, coat patched at the shoulder. No smile, but not unfriendly. "That depends," she said, eyeing him. "You offering help or judgment?" He stepped off the post slowly. "Help don't come with strings," he said. "Judgment's for men who don't hold doors." She watched him another second, then nodded once. "Wagon's tied up out back. You need a place to set it down? You always invite strangers to supper?" "Only the ones still standing after being dropped." She didn't answer, not with words, She just picked up the trunk again and followed. The ride out of town was quiet, the kind that doesn't ask questions because it's too busy listening. Snow packed beneath the wheels. The horse didn't hurry. Neither did they. Caleb broke the silence once. "You come west for him?" "I came west for honesty," she said. "Didn't find much." "Man's a fool," he muttered. "No," she said. "A fool don't know better." He knew. That was all they said, until the trees thickened. The cabin came into view just past the ridge. Modest, built low, chimney puffing steady. Inside it smelled of pine and strong coffee. He brought her trunk in without asking, set it near the fire. "Chair's yours. Stove's hot. I don't ask questions after dark," he said. "You live alone?" "Long enough to know it don't mean empty." "I had goats once," she said suddenly. "They ate everything but the Bible and the fence." He chuckled once, just enough to count. "That make you a widow or a shepherd?" "Both," she said. "But I buried the man, let the goats run." He didn't push. She didn't explain more. They sat in silence, fire snapping low between them. 2 chairs, 1 room, and no one needing to prove they belonged. The snow deepened that night, settling like it meant to stay. The fire burned slow and loyal. Eliza sat in the rocker. Caleb patched a bootlace by the table. No one spoke, but nothing was missing. Then came the knock. 3 short reps, too clean for a man lost in weather. Caleb stood first, reached for the rifle by the door like it had always been part of him. Eliza didn't flinch. She just folded the quilt tighter around her legs. He cracked the door open with care. "Evening," said the man outside. "Name's Cole Drifter. Horse snapped a leg 2 miles back. I've been walking since sundown. You folks got a floor I can borrow?" The man looked rough, but not ragged. Coat soaked, hair slick with melting frost. Caleb sized him up. "You hurt?" "Just cold," Cole said. "Just tired." "You armed?" "Only with charm," Cole said, smiling. Caleb didn't smile back. "Blankets by the fire," he said. "Floor's yours. You keep your hands to yourself." Cole stepped inside like he'd been invited. His eyes swept the room, Eliza, the trunk, the table. "Cozy," he said. "Didn't figure you for a couple." Eliza looked up. "That's because you assume too much." He chuckled low, eased down near the fire, too close to her trunk. "Storm'll trap us in," he said, stretching out. "No use worrying tonight." "I ain't worried," Caleb said. "That makes one of us," Cole muttered. Later, when Cole's breathing had evened out, too even, too fast, Eliza whispered low, "He's not asleep." "I know," Caleb replied. "You seen this before?" "Once." She didn't ask right away. Then, softly, "You want to tell it?" He stared at the fire. "My brother brought home a man after the war. Said he'd saved his life. Turned out, he'd rather take mine than earn his own keep." "What happened?" "Let's just say, I woke first." She nodded once. No drama, no pity, just 2 people sharing a truth because there was no one else left to carry it. Outside, the wind pushed against the cabin. Inside, it met something it couldn't move. By morning, the wind had calmed, but the silence had weight. the kind that makes a man shift in his sleep and a woman keep one hand under the quilt, near the revolver she hadn't touched in years. Eliza sat in the rocker, eyes on the man by the fire. Cole hadn't moved all night, not a twitch, not a sigh. Caleb stirred the stove like he wasn't watching, but he was. Cole sat up too fast for a man half frozen, grinned like nothing had passed. "That's some fire," he said. "You folks sure know how to keep a guest alive." Eliza didn't answer. "You always offer up shelter to strangers?" Cole asked. "Only when the storm's meaner than the man," Caleb said. Cole looked at Eliza again, slower this time. "Ain't many women like you this far out." She didn't blink. "Good. Then you won't have anyone to compare me to when I throw you out." Cole laughed low and sharp, then moved fast. He lunged for the rifle by the door. Caleb blocked him with his shoulder, sent him into the wall. Cole came up with a knife, but Eliza was already standing. The revolver was out before either man could speak. "Drop it." Cole turned toward her. "You're bluffing," he sneered. "Try me," she said. His eyes darted, then back to her. "You ain't gonna shoot me." "I've buried worse," she said, "and I'm not in a forgiving mood." He paused, then let the knife fall with a clatter. "You're both crazy." "No," Caleb said. "We just keep what's ours." "Get out," Eliza said. Cole looked to the door. "You throw me out there, I freeze." "Then move fast," Caleb said. Cole hesitated 1 second too long, then left, slamming the door behind him like it meant something. Eliza lowered the revolver, placed it back behind the flour tin. Caleb didn't speak right away. "Then, you've done that before?" "Enough times to know when not to wait for someone else to pull the trigger." He nodded once. And just like that, the room settled again. The fire crackled, the snow held its breath, and the two of them sat, not shaken, just certain. The storm was done, but the cold lingered. It clung to the trees, tucked into the shadows beneath the cabin eaves. Inside, though, the heat stayed, and it wasn't from the fire alone. If this story's finding you somewhere quiet tonight, go ahead and tap that like button. It helps more than you know. And if you believe in stories where people get a second chance, subscribe, stay a while. Tell me, where are you listening from? Eliza stood at the window, watching the ridge where the stranger had disappeared. Caleb was fixing the hinge on the back door. Quiet work, the kind that steadied the hands. They didn't talk about the night before, didn't need to. The kind of danger that passes through and leaves you both standing. That's its own conversation. Later, they worked outside, stretching wire along the south fence. "Post is crooked," she said. "So's the ground," he replied. "You fix one, the other leans harder." He looked over at her, just a glance. Still worth setting right. That was all they said, for half an hour. That night, Eliza came in from washing by the pump and found a second chair moved beside the fire. Her trunk had been nudged aside, just a little, to make room. He didn't mention it. She didn't either. But she sat in it, and that's what counted. Later, after the dishes were stacked and the fire was slow, Caleb poured her a second cup. "There's a dance next Saturday," he said. She raised an eyebrow. "You dance?" "Poorly," he said. but not alone, if I can help it. She sipped slow. You asking me to be stared at, in a room full of people who already decided who I am? No, he said. I'm asking if you'll stand beside me, while they try to figure out why I'm smiling more than usual. She set her cup down. You sure? I have been sure of less, and asked more. She didn't answer, not right then. But she didn't say no either, which was more than enough. And if you've ever stood in a room where people thought they knew your story, share this with someone who needs reminding. You don't owe the world an explanation. The sky over Rawlins cleared come Saturday evening, like even the clouds wanted to see what would happen next. The snow had crusted hard. The boots that crossed it had places to go. Eliza stepped down from the wagon, slow and sure. Her dress wasn't fancy, but it was pressed. Her coat buttoned neat. Hair pinned with a touch of lavender from the bottom of her trunk, the kind that holds more memory than scent. Caleb offered his arm. She didn't hesitate. Not because she needed help, but because it was time. The town hall glowed with lamplight and fiddle music. Laughter inside rolled like a river that had forgotten the frost. When they stepped in, the air changed. Eyes turned. Voices hushed. They remembered the woman who'd arrived on a train with nothing but a trunk and a letter. Now, she walked in with something they couldn't measure. Caleb led her toward the floor, not pulling, not presenting, just beside her, like they belonged nowhere else. Still sure? He asked. I don't do things halfway, she said. The music didn't stop. Neither did they. Their steps weren't polished, but they matched. A dance between two people who didn't owe the room a thing. Whispers rose. Some stared. Some turned away. But no one stepped between them. One woman near the punch bowl said, too loud, "She's too old for that." Eliza heard it. Didn't flinch. Didn't slow. Good, she said to Caleb. Means I'm dancing for me, not them. He smiled. You always were. And they kept going. By the end of the song, no one was whispering. Not because they'd changed their minds, but because Eliza didn't need them to. She'd shown up anyway, with quiet boots, a steady hand, and no apology. And that kind of woman doesn't need permission to be remembered. The ride home was slow, not from snow, from stillness, the kind that settles when nothing needs proving anymore. Eliza leaned back in the wagon beside Caleb, her gloved hand resting on the edge of the bench. She didn't speak, didn't need to. The night air pressed around them, soft as wool. Above, the sky was wide and star-hushed. Back at the cabin, the fire was out, but the coal still warm. Caleb held the door open. She stepped through. Her trunk sat by the wall, quiet witness to the whole thing. He poured water into the kettle, set it on the stove. Coffee at this hour? She asked, half smiling. Only for company that matters. They stood by the hearth. Then she turned. You never asked why I came, she said. Didn't need to, he replied. And you never asked if I planned to stay. He finally looked at her, full. You already did. She stepped close enough that their coats brushed. He didn't reach for her. She didn't wait for him to. They kissed, not like the start of something new, like the end of a long silence. And in that small, quiet cabin, where nothing was promised but warmth and wood smoke, Eliza knew what it meant to be chosen by someone who saw her standing and never looked away. And that was enough. That was how she learned. There is no expiration on love, only seasons. It happened 1 month after the dance. Snow still crusted the hills, but the chapel on the edge of Rawlins stood dry and lit with morning. Eliza wore a dress of dark blue satin, plain in cut, but pressed and shining under the chapel windows. Her gloves were pearl-buttoned, her brooch pinned proper, her hair pulled back soft at the sides, just the way Caleb had said he liked it. Caleb stood waiting at the front, coat borrowed from a friend. Boots shined, collar stiff. He looked uncomfortable, but not unsure. His hands didn't shake. That's how folks knew it was real. The chapel was small, just 6 pews and a bell above. But it was full enough. A preacher, old as fence posts and twice as upright, stood with a leather-bound book, 3 ranch hands, who'd worked beside Caleb since the days after his brother passed, filled 1 pew. A widow from the feed store, the blacksmith's son, and a school teacher with stories in her smile sat across from them. At the front, Eliza walked in alone. No one gave her away. She'd never needed help to stand straight. But as she reached him, Caleb offered his hand, open, waiting. And she took it, not to lean on, but to walk beside. Do you take this woman? I already have, Caleb said. And do you, Eliza Hart, take this man? She smiled then, full, real, the kind of smile that holds history. I reckon he took me in before he knew he had me. The preacher chuckled once, just once. Then by grace and ground, your husband and wife. They kissed, quiet and sure. And when they turned to face the room, no one clapped. They just stood and nodded, because some unions don't need applause, just witnesses. That Sunday, the bell above the chapel rang once, not for tradition, but because someone wanted it to. And in a place where silence usually won, joy had the last word. I don't want a bride, I want a partner. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and share. Also, comment where you're watching from and what time it is there.